It's time for Real Talk with Cindy Barber. Stay tuned for conversation and information from her special guest. Now sit back and relax and enjoy Real Talk with Cindy Barber.
Calling all musicians, singers, dancers, praise leaders, and ministers of music throughout the Church of the Living God. Bishop Ivy Ann Hopkins, President General, and Bishop Bertha Jones, Vice President General. You're invited to the 2025 Music Summit hosted by the Delaware Diocese under the leadership of Bishop Kathy Johnson and National Minister of Music Elder Cindy Barber. Going on March 28th through the 29th at Union Baptist Church located at 883 Lincoln Street in Dover, Delaware. There will be music workshops, games and activities, concert, mass and children rehearsal, networking, and more. Register today at houseofgodcog.ticketspot.com/music summit. For more information, call Deacon Randolph Bellamy, Summit Coordinator, at 586-846-9144. Come, let's bless the Lord in song and dance at the Church of the Living God Music Summit in Dover, Delaware, March 28th through 29th. We'll see you there.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Real Talk with Cindy. Please tag and share and let others know that we are on and my guests are here. Let me know the state, city, or country you're joining me from on tonight. I see some of you. I see you coming on. YouTubers, welcome. God bless you. It's good to see everyone coming on. Greetings, Pastor. Good to see you from Florida. Sister Hill, good to see you from Mississippi. God bless you. Please tag and share and let other people know that we are on. We are on. Good evening, Lakisa from the Promised Land in Georgia, USA. Good to have you with us on tonight from YouTube. Good evening, my sister Stacy from East Hartford, Connecticut. Glad to have you on tonight. So excited with this show, and I'm going to bring my guest on shortly. Also, if you'd like to sow a seed to Real Talk with Cindy and be a blessing to us, and many of you have done so, my Cash App information is $Cindy's Keys, $Cindy's Keys. And also, if you have an advertisement you would like for me to show on this platform, please DM me or send me an email to ms.cindybarber@gmail.com. And I'll be glad to advertise it right here on Real Talk with Cindy. Please tag and share and let other people know that we are on. And we're excited to be here tonight. Hope everyone has had an amazing weekend. I see more of you coming on. Thank you so much. Friend Lynn Reed from Ardmore, Pennsylvania. Good to see you. And also Sister Brenda from Philadelphia. Glad to see you on tonight. And right now I have with me Jeffrey LaValley. Good evening, Professor.
Good evening. Good evening. I'm doing just fine. Thank you. A little cold, but we'll be all right. How are you tonight?
I'm so glad to have you with me on tonight. And to all of you that are coming on, I see you all the way from Philadelphia. Hey, Tina, good to see you from Philly. David Winslow, thank God for you. Glad to have you with us on tonight. And I do have another guest, David Winslow, which will be joining us shortly. So I'm just thanking God for all of you being with me on tonight. And we're going to get started. We know that this is Black History Month, and we do always want to talk about Black gospel music and how it has paved the way for so many others. I never want to forget that. I love the history of gospel music. Good
Yes.
evening, my sister-in-law, Kathy from Windsor, Connecticut. Jeffrey, I want to ask you this question before we start talking about some of the artists. Music was doing a lot of work back in the day for Black people, giving them hope, giving them a way of escape from their slave owners. It was also helping community back then too. What is the message of gospel music today that you think? What do you think the message of gospel music is today?
I really think that today's message of gospel music should be offering life. When you look around and see what's happening today, we're reliving things that happened to us in the 50s and 60s. And a lot of people are becoming extremely disheartened. Our music that we present today needs to offer them shelter. It needs to offer them strength. It needs to offer them solace, and it needs to offer them life, so that they'll know that whatever we're facing, whatever we're going through, you can find an answer through the gospel and in the gospel.
Yes, because so many of them back then, they had so many different ways of singing, and sometimes some of their songs were just one-liners, but everybody understood and knew what they meant. Some of it was used as signals, Is the message of hope still there today, or is it more about entertainment? Do you think the message of hope, for what you just elaborated on, do you still think that it's here today, or is it just about entertainment?
I think in some of our music, the message of hope is still alive.
Yes.
As much as today's gospel has become self-centered, we must go back to identifying the object of our worship. We must go back to letting people know who exactly we're singing about, the power that he has. I mean, what's the cliche say? Stop telling God about your mountain and start telling your mountain about God. And I mean, that's really where we are right now. We got to start speaking to our mountains and letting them know who actually is in charge. So I think the hope is there. It just needs to be brought into the forefront.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. So now I want to talk about, and I know we have many artists that we want to elaborate on tonight, and we will open up for questions. So if you have questions to ask my guests, feel free to do so. Rosetta Tharpe. What can you share about Rosetta Tharpe?
Rosetta Tharpe is known as the godmother of rock and roll. As much as she was involved in gospel music, the rock and roll era embraced her and embraced her stylings. If you go back and listen to her music, she had a sound that was totally unique. I mean, her gifting with the guitar was unique, and it influenced people like Chuck Berry and Little Richard and Elvis. I mean, the R&B, the rock and roll artists were really accepting her music. And in her later years, she started touring, doing a lot of R&B music. But her music, even today, when you listen to it, it's vibrant. It was life-giving. It was life-changing when she sang gospel music. She was really effervescent, and her personality came out through that guitar. When she started playing that guitar, you felt her personality. You could actually feel what she was doing. Great lady.
Yeah. Now, was she from the Chicago area, or where was she from?
I'm not sure of where she was from, but I do know her roots were in the Church of God in Christ.
Oh, wow. Okay. So many came out of the Church of God in Christ.
Right.
So
as a matter of fact, the first recording came out of the Church of God in Christ, Arizona Dreams, and her recording of I Shall Wear a Golden Crown.
Yes.
Came out of the Church of God in Christ in like 1920 something.
Wow. Yeah. It's a long time. Ralph Lofton, phenomenal organist, he says, "Hey, Jeffrey LaValley, a true historian and my longtime friend."
Ralph and I met many, many years ago in Memphis at his church, Mount Vernon, when I was playing for
Really?
Sarah Jordan Powell. And that's
Really?
been, that was in the late 70s. And we've been friends ever since.
Wow.
Wonderful person, wonderful personality.
Yeah, he is.
Musician personified.
Right.
He has the total package. Ralph is a great guy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he is. Now let's talk about Dorothy Love Coates.
Dorothy Love Coates and the Gospel Harmonettes. The sad part about her whole story is that at the time of her demise, she felt like she had been forsaken by the gospel community. When we did the video presentation with Bill Gaither and Donald Vales and Richard Smallwood, she was asked to come, but she wouldn't. She didn't want to be involved, and she was hurt. She didn't feel that she received the acknowledgement, the acclaim that so many others had. But when you talk about the Harmonettes, I mean, you're talking about a catalog that was amazing. I still remember those 78s. On Specialty Records, the Finishing Line, and so many other songs that she composed and came up with. She was one of a kind. Her delivery was amazing, absolutely amazing. There you go. That's it, Dwayne. I've got Jesus, and that's enough. And I'm just holding on. And the funny thing about it is, people are still singing "I'm Just Holding On" today. But one of her even more recent hits was "You Brought Me From a Mighty Long Way." Still, powerful, just a powerfully crafted songs.
Wow, that is amazing. That's amazing. Now, share someone else that you're interested in talking about.
I'm waiting for David to come into the room because I'm wondering if he remembers the album by the St. Mark Gospel Ensemble out of New York with Bishop Ned Townsley. They had an album that had an arrangement of If I Could Help Somebody that was absolutely amazing. But the song I'm looking for is he did an arrangement of the Negro Spiritual Go Down Moses that I have not heard since the early 70s. That was absolutely spectacular. And I know David, with all those 3 billion records, got to have that record in his collection. He has to have it.
Right.
I'd like to dig into some of that. We need to talk about institutional, Bishop J.C. White.
Yes.
Oh my God, there are so many. As a matter of fact, this month, being Black History Month, every day I've been on my page, my Facebook page, I've been trying to feature people that have been a great part of gospel music, be it from the past or even in the present, and I mean, I've been trying to feature at least 4 a day, and I have a list of folk that I'm going through that I can just, give honor to, some that deserve more honor than they've even received.
Absolutely.
I've been trying to do that because a lot of people don't know our history.
Right.
They don't know our history. And the younger generation thinks that gospel began with Kirk Franklin. Not so.
Right.
Not so.
Absolutely.
So we got to keep that going.
Absolutely. David, can you share?
All right. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. You can't see the picture, but Jeff, I do have St. Mark.
I knew you would.
I got like 5 copies of it. I found this album at the corner store around the corner from me for 49 cents. Never heard of them, but I bought it home, and I've always liked gospel albums with piano, organ, and drums. I wasn't too much on the bass guitar. I don't hate them, but I love that piano, organ, and drums. That's why I love you, Jeff. But they did If I Can Help Somebody, and my favorite was Go Down Moses,
Go Down Moses.
And the Lord's
Yes,
Prayer. And the Lord's
Yes.
Prayer. He had an arrangement of the Lord's Prayer. He was what was called the Clinton Utterback of his time. He was like a replica because his vocals were even orchestrated.
Yes.
He didn't just sing 3-part harmony. He had like 6 and 7-part harmony going on at one time.
Yes.
You know, now it's a poor album technically, but for the music connoisseur, if you can hear beyond the technical, you can hear what he was actually doing. And the leader of that choir was a man by the name of, I think he passed away last year, Nate Townsley.
Yes, he passed away toward 2023, I believe.
Okay, something like that. You know, so I know it was recent, you know, and I was really hurt when he passed away, but he had the St. Mark's Gospel Ensemble, and then he pastored the Lighthouse Church in Brooklyn, and he had an album with the Lighthouse Choir, which was an ensemble of about 9 people, and it was called I Fell in Love with God.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
And it was on ABC Records, which was uncommon at that time, you know, but me and Jeff kind of feel the same way. You know, that St. Mark was just,
his vocal arrangements were amazing.
Yes.
They were ahead of their time.
Right.
I mean, literally, when you listen to If I Can Help Somebody, I mean, those first sopranos were wailing.
Yeah.
They were wailing. I mean, they were literally above the clouds, and they were going for it. And he also had a 45 in maybe 71, 72 with an arrangement of Amazing Grace that is second to none.
I never heard it.
It's on YouTube.
Okay.
I found it the other day because I was thinking about it, and I said, let me go and see if I can find this. And I found it. It was amazing. As a matter of fact, when Institutional came to Milwaukee when I was in, I think it was in 1971, our choir did that, and they asked us, where did y'all get that from? And it was actually from their territory.
Okay.
Oh, boy. Wow.
Okay.
That's
But
great.
He was an amazing, he was an amazing preacher.
Yeah.
You know, and musician. You know, and I'm funny about musicians, choir directors that suddenly become preachers, you know, and all that. You know, we think just because we can say something in between songs that we're just called to be preachers and all like that. But he really had a word. Another one is Frank Anton White.
Yes.
Yes.
An amazing musician, but even a more amazing preacher.
And an awesome songwriter.
Yeah, songwriter. He's the one that did We Sing Praises to the King, for he is the King of Kings.
Oh, yeah.
He wrote that, you know. And I think Frank, what's that boy's name that was on earlier? Ralph Lofton.
Yes.
Yes, Ralph.
And I wanted to talk to y'all about that. There were musical teams that played together that was so gelled that one knew what the other one was doing. And you didn't find that too often. Alfred Bolden.
Yeah.
And Pee Wee.
Right.
Jeffrey LaValley and Jerry Gorham.
Jerry Gorham.
Yeah, I'm telling you, fantastic music. But that Ralph Lofton and Derek Lee,
they were amazing.
Yeah.
Oh my God, they just did things, and I was like, this is so subtle,
you
know, but yet it was so strong.
Yeah.
You know, and I was saying to myself, Lord, I wish I could play like that. You know, but these are people that, well, especially like Jeff and Alfred White, JC's brother.
Yes.
And Alfred Bolden.
Yes.
And what's the other one? Ronald Kersey.
Ronnie Kersey. Yes, sir.
When I tell you, and when I found out he was from Canada, I said, I don't know what kind of water they drinking up in there.
Yeah.
You know, but when I tell you phenomenal stuff,
yes,
that they were doing, that was like, I mean, even today their stuff sounds fresh.
Well, I was a student of Ronnie Kersey from afar. those Southwest Michigan albums.
Yes, Lord.
That's how I.
Oh, sorry.
That's how I learned how to play the organ, by listening to Ronnie Kersey. Tasteful.
Yeah.
I mean, totally tasteful, and he never overplayed.
That's right.
He gave me just enough to let you know I can do it.
And
I know my job. I'm an accompanist. I mean, it's just spectacular. He, Beverly Glenn, Janet Cole, who played the piano for Matty Moss Clark.
Yes.
Shirley Slappy, I believe her name, or Bobby Slappy, I think her name was. I mean, these were people that they knew how to give you just enough to let you know I can do it.
Yeah.
But I know how to back down and do what I'm supposed to do.
And I also like Joanne Cotton.
Yes.
She was phenomenal. You know, and I mean, these people just played. And the thing was, they were real musicians, because when they went and did a live session or a studio session, there were no overdubs.
Right.
You had to know what you were doing when you stepped on that, when it was time to record. There were no overdubs. There were no, what do you call it for the voices? Auto-tune.
Yeah.
You had to know how to sing. You had to know how to blend. You know, I think you were playing the Davis sisters earlier.
Yes.
And the thing was, they had one mic for the group, one mic for the lead, and those group, they would surround that mic and they had to blend together so that nobody oversang anybody.
Right.
You know what I mean? And we need to go back to teaching the younger folks how to do we'll fix that in the studio. No, baby, it wasn't that. We didn't do that. You know, and even the mistakes. It was like, Jeff will remember this. 33rd International Youth Congress. Harold Thompson taught an arrangement of Beams of Heaven.
Yep.
Loretta Oliver sang the lead.
Yep.
And she went to hit a note in the middle of the song, and the last time she went to hit the note, she cracked. And they left that in there, but she worked it all the way down and brought it back in. Baby, they danced like they were crazy.
Yes.
You know, on that thing. People, I don't even go as far as people knew how to clap then. People knew how to clap their feet or stomp their feet.
Yeah.
We didn't grow up. I didn't grow up with drummers. So I had to know how to keep a timing on my own. Thank you, Jeff LaValley, for teaching me that. You know, and I was a student of Jeffrey from afar. Oh, I'm very serious about that. I'm very serious about that. I watched him progress from, and I know we mention it all the time, from Wisconsin Community Choir, from the first album, Telling the World, and by the time he got to that second album, The World Behind Me, The Cross Before Me, I snapped. I said, I don't believe this man done changed like this in 2 years. You know what I mean?
I was a kid. Yeah.
And then by the time they got to Going Up to Glory and the drummer wasn't there, and he had to keep that timing that whole time, and they clapped their hands, and on a couple songs they played tambourine and all that. They knew how to do it. We can't clap, we can't sway, we can't, sing at the same time. Nobody knows how to do that stuff anymore. We've lost
a sidebar.
Huh?
What do you think about how do both of you feel about individuals in the choir singing with their own microphone? What's your thoughts?
You don't want to ask me that.
Go ahead, Jeff. You take it.
You don't want to ask me that. You don't want to know what I think about that. I wonder why. I mean, I know we've got all these big cathedrals or whatever, but if you can mic your choir properly, why do you have to have 6 or 7 people standing in front of the choir with microphones? That's what the choir is for. Let them sing. I'm not a lover of frontline singers.
I understand.
And I understand if you like them, go for it and go for what you know. But I am not crazy about frontline singers. Not at all.
And then it's all about, hey Scott, it's all about how you teach them. You know what I mean? And every voice is important. Even the bad ones. They're important. Teach them how to sing it. Teach them how to, and teach it, even if they don't have the vocal, at least teach them like the dynamics and articulation and, you know, all that stuff. Everybody's saying the same thing, doing the same thing at the same time. And, you know, you got to be precise in what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
And people don't teach
not
that.
only that, I think a lot of that came up during the pandemic, right before the pandemic.
Yes.
That frontline thing, you know, and our choirs then started, after when they started coming back, they started spacing out.
Yes.
So you kind of lost that quality. And during that time, I think they used that to kind of help and assist. Okay, but we can get back together now.
Right. Yeah.
You know, we can stand together now, you know, and have your people put your best foot forward. If you want to have the frontline singers, that's fine. Put the front line in the front of the choir. And let them sing, let them do that. I'm not crazy about the today's choir culture at all.
Yeah.
I'm not.
Yeah. Ronnie Song is saying
it's
that.
not choir culture anymore.
Yeah.
You know,
that's my buddy. Ronnie Song is one of the most unsung heroes in gospel music. One of my favorite, well, two of my favorite compositions came from him. The Kingdom Fully Committed.
Yeah.
And their album Serious. I still play Serious to this day. That was one of the most spectacular albums that I ever heard. The entire project is a second to none.
Yeah.
Now I couldn't listen to it until 20 years later. After it came out. Oh, first of all, it was too clean for me. You know, I'm Pentecostal. I need some dirt. You know,
it was clean. Oh my God, the production was definitely clean.
It was clean, and the thing is, like, since the pandemic, or since within the last 2 years, I've been picking up, because there's a lot of stuff where you can't see behind me, but there's a lot of albums in here that I haven't really listened to, so I've been spending this time to go through them. You know, and I really want to have a old time album listening party. That's what I want to do.
Well, you have enough for them to listen to, that's for sure. That would take weeks.
No, it would take years. Because I haven't even done it, you know, but
right. Yeah. Now we wanted to talk about institutional radio choir.
My Lord.
Now, that was a strong choir back in the day.
Yes, indeed. I get tickled when I hear people singing Stretch Out.
Yeah.
Today.
Yeah.
Because I don't care who sings it. I don't care who brings it up. Nobody
sings it like Gloria.
Sing that song like Institutional.
That's right.
Sister Gloria White.
Yeah.
Nobody. I mean, and to see them do it live. And the thing about Bishop that really I remember more than anything was the way he had control and command of that choir.
Yeah.
I didn't care how high the spirit got until he released them from the song or from what they were doing. They didn't go in, they didn't shout, they didn't dance, but you could see them ready to go. And what they would do was channel what they felt into what they were doing. And every song would just become more and more powerful. They were amazing.
They
amazing.
They were like at that time the ultimate church choir.
Yeah.
You know,
yes.
I remember when the first time I heard Stretch Out, 1966, everybody in the world was singing Stretch Out.
Yes.
Everybody. Every Pentecostal choir, no, even some Baptist choirs, they were singing a little slower because that was kind of fast for them. But they were singing Stretch Out, you know, and then once I started studying institution, they were singing Stretch Out, they were singing Reach Out, they were singing Hold Out. I mean, they were just out all the way, you know.
Anchor by and by.
Yeah. Oh my God. Now, my favorite album from them was Grace.
Yeah.
There will never be another album like Grace. Every single song on that album.
Yeah, that was a great album.
Nothing was a filler. Nothing.
And J.C. White was such a great writer.
Yes.
He was a great person. Well, he is.
Yes,
yes,
he
is.
He's gone, but he's still here.
Right, he is.
Okay, I'm talking to the wrong impression. He's still here. His writing was amazing. And when they went from Atlantic to King Records,
that was horrible.
and did the album on James Brown's label.
Yeah,
This Is the Right
this
Time.
is the right time.
Right, where that whole style seemed to change, and then they came back with One More Day. Oh my God!
That's
One More
it.
Day.
Oh my God!
That's it.
That was the album. I
Yeah.
mean, you know, they talk about now. Well, what can you listen to a CD and not skip? That was an album that you did not have to skip a song on.
That's
Everything
right.
on that album was good.
That's right.
Yes.
Now I've gotten to lately. I've gotten into This Is the Right Time, because the problem with This Is the Right Time, the production was horrible. It was not good. But because we loved the Institutional, we were still using their music. But I've been listening to that album recently, and Jeff, I don't know if you know this, there's 2 versions of that same album.
Yes. Yeah, it is.
2 versions of the same. There's the original take, and then there's the second take. The second take is a lot better than the first one.
A lot cleaner.
Yeah, a lot cleaner.
A lot cleaner.
And, the songs are, in fact, what was the song? This Is the Right Time, when we couldn't understand a word that Joyce was singing. Couldn't understand nothing.
Dr. Joyce Taylor.
Dr. Joyce Taylor.
Yeah.
You know, but on that second take, you could understand every word. I said, oh, that was what she was saying. I was sitting on a pew one Sunday morning. The
preacher was preaching about being born.
A little confused. I didn't understand. You know, but even, let me say this. JC's writing was unique because he wrote his songs like people would write hymns. He's the only one that I knew that could have a fast song that had 4 verses.
Yeah.
4 distinct.
And all of his songs told a story.
Yep.
Yeah.
Everyone.
So especially when you got to the verses. Like
Reach
what
out.
was that? Grace, I know the road to heaven is not a flowery bed of ease. I mean, he could really paint a picture.
Yeah.
I used to love Anchor Vine.
He wrote out the ad lib, you know, stand when you persecute me, stand when my loved ones use me, trouble on every hand, living in a Christian band, help me when the hellhounds are raging, keep me when the storms are blazing, hounds of Satan surround me, enemy camped all about me, things in life go wrong, I'm hopeless and forlorn. He would write all those ad libs, you know, and it was like, wow, how do you come up with this?
Right. Well, what do you think made them such a unique choir that everybody wanted to be like and sound like Institutional? What was it that made them that even to this day, people just talk about Institutional Radio Choir?
Go ahead, Jeff.
They had their style. When they came out, their style was unique.
Yeah.
As many choirs that were out there at that time, because you had Harrison Johnson and Los Angeles Community Choir.
Shut it down.
We were out at that time. What's the choir from Nashville? BC&M. You know,
yes.
They were all good choirs, all well-taught choirs, and had wonderful music. But Institutional had a sound that was different from all the rest of them. You didn't hear that New York flair. Was different. It was a totally different flavor than what we were used to doing. You know, everybody talks about the Detroit sound and the Chicago sound, but New York had a style all its own.
They did.
And everybody tried to capitalize on that. One Stretch Out came out, and He Holdeth the Reins.
Yes.
Those songs. We all tried to capitalize on that because it was different.
I remember one time I went to Detroit for something, and the thing was, I went there to hear Detroit music. Well, they were singing everything from the East Coast. You know what I mean? I said, I can hear this at home. You know, but I mean, they were singing Institutional. They were singing New York Community Choir. They were singing, you know, Isaac Douglas singers and, you know, all that kind of stuff. You know, even New York Community Choirs, they were not a choir to play with.
Yeah. They had a choir, Triborough Mass, didn't they?
Triborough, well, yeah, but even longer. Well, New York has an attitude, come on in, because I came to kill you. And there was no, I'm not going to ease into this. I'm not going to warm up to this. From the first note, they knocked you out. They knocked you out.
Yeah.
You know, so the thing was, you really went there to die. Just throw the dirt over me and put me in the ground. You know, I mean, they
New
would
York
cut your throat, huh?
When you mention New York Community Choir, you know, that's Timothy Wright.
Yeah.
You know, the music of Benny Diggs.
Yeah.
My goodness.
Yes.
Arthur Freeman. You know, Will Johnson. I mean, those people, they did not come to play.
Nope.
Those choirs did not come to play. And when you saw them in action, you know, it was like you were like mesmerized because they gave you everything they had.
And
with no limitations, no hesitation. You know, and that wasn't the days of where they had 10 and 12 mics in the choir stand. You might have had one.
That's right.
Yeah.
You may have had 3, you know, maximum. But they gave you all that they had. So, you know, you were really fortunate to be in the presence of those people and watching them in action. Isaac Douglas is an unsung hero of gospel.
Yes, that's so true.
Anybody says, because he does not get the recognition
that
the other folk got. Isaac was amazing.
He was.
And he knew how to command an audience. He knew how to do that.
That's true. He really did.
He was phenomenal.
He was
really, and even the original Douglas singers.
Yes.
You know, they didn't play. The later ones was like, okay, but baby, them Wilbur and Arthur and Benny Diggs and Clyde Brown and
yes,
you know, I'm like these people, and even John Hasten. I didn't realize that John Hasten had played for them. You know, for so many years. That's another unsung.
If I'm not mistaken.
Huh?
Yep. I believe he was the original keyboardist.
Yes, he was. And he had a touch out. Cindy, I don't know if you remember him. John Hasten was phenomenal.
Yes, he was.
And not only did he play, and he could play that, he played Keys is the Kingdom, and he ran that bass the whole time with his left hand. And I'm saying, where do you get the strength on a piano?
Right.
I did I had to direct for Carol Sing at the Soulful Christmas. And I was trying to tell the musicians, I said, the difference in y'all and me is you're a keyboardist. I'm a pianist. And that's something totally, you have to know how to play a piano. And you play so hard. Yes, I play hard because that's at one time, that's all we had.
Yeah.
That's right.
So that had to be everything before we even knew what an organ was and all that kind of stuff. We had to know how to run it. And baby, when they're doing their Fast and Furious dance, you had to be on it.
Yeah.
First dance I ever played was on a accordion. And you see me pumping an accordion and that, but that's how I learned. You know, but you have to learn how to play.
That's true.
You know, you had to learn how to beat it down.
Right. Well, what's somebody old that you want to share about tonight?
I don't even know.
I thought about the Davis sisters.
Well, yeah, the Davis sisters, they were from the Five Baptized Holiness Church.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Mount Zion Five Baptized Holiness at 20th and Columbia Avenue. Well, now it's Cecil B. Moore.
Yeah, Cecil B. Moore.
That's where they came out of. You know, and they were the prize of the Five Baptized Church. And what a lot of people didn't know was Baby Sis, or Ruth, as we call her Baby Sis, she arranged their congregational songs that they would sing during devotion and stuff like that. That's where she got most of her stuff from.
Wow.
You know, so, but I mean, they could arrange it. And when they stepped on that floor,
oh, yeah,
it was Kill Me, I Came to Die.
Yeah.
Right.
Jeff, I don't know. And Cindy, I don't know if you ever heard the song they did. Baby Sis had left the group and started her own Ruth Davis Singers, but they did an album on RCA Records. Jackie Verdell was the main lead on it. And it was live in Arkansas. And all it was the Davis Sisters and piano. They turned,
really?
I heard Stand By Me. The first time I heard Stand By Me, it was the live version. you know, and Emma Jean Green was on that album.
Oh, yeah.
But them girls, they didn't come to play.
Yeah.
They didn't
Wow.
come to them, the Imperials. You remember the Imperials?
Rosie Wallace, wasn't it?
Yeah, Rosie Wallace and Smallwood. You know, Rosie was the queen.
And a lot of people don't realize that she was an extremely gifted piano player.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, she could really, not only was she a great composer, but she sure enough knew how to play that piano.
She could play.
Yeah.
I was talking to her, one of her former choir members today. He came over my house. And I said, who played on all of First Church's album? He said, Rosie played piano on all of them.
Wow.
I said, all of them? I thought Bobby Chestnut played. Rosie played piano. Forrest Hodges played organ. I don't know if y'all remember him. Bobby Chestnut. And then Eddie Brown came later. Eddie Brown came around 66, 67, something like that. You know, but now he was a phenomenal musician.
Yes, he was.
Eddie Brown. Oh my God. Range.
Yeah.
He had a natural countertenor. He wasn't false in anything. He could scream up in the ceiling like that. He was good. He was good.
And they were personable people.
Yeah.
You know, they weren't arrogant with their gifts. They weren't, you know, they were willing, you know, you could talk to them, you could reach out to them. If you had questions, you could ask them. Not like a lot of stuff that's happening today. You could talk to these people.
Yeah. Now, how was the music industry for them back then, back in the day? How was the music industry to them?
What do you mean as far as business was concerned?
As far as business, yeah.
All their money was stolen. All their money was stolen. They didn't get anything.
Especially if you were on Savoy.
Or Savoy. The Savoy didn't give you anything.
If you were on Savoy, you got ripped.
You got ripped real good. And they ripped you from beginning to end.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And that's why a lot of people that had lost, even James Cleveland. James Cleveland didn't make as much money as everybody thought he did off of Savoy. Now, he tried to have his own label, and that didn't work. But if he had been on, like, he had priority on Savoy, but he didn't make the money that everybody thought he made.
Okay.
You know, on Savoy. I'm not going to mention no names, but all them owners and things, they made the money. You know, because the one thing Savoy would never do, a lot of people didn't know the music business.
Right.
About having your own copyrights and having your own publishing and having your own sheet music and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Everybody was so glad to record, they just gave their stuff away.
Yeah. Right. That's true.
You know what I mean? But once people got wise to, you know, they were doing this and that, you know, and because Jeff can remember this. When the Gospel Music Workshop was like in its real heyday, like in the 70s and the 80s, what they were doing was the artists were actually teaching the mass choir of the workshop songs, but they had also recorded them themselves.
Yeah, because Oh How Precious had already been recorded.
Oh How Precious had already been recorded, and a couple other people, Donald Bedford, I don't know if you remember him.
I remember the name.
He recorded, he was San Antonio, Texas. He had recorded some people, but he recorded with the choir and he recorded with, you know, on his own. You know, but a lot of those people back then, Workshop was an industry convention. Everybody went there because they wanted to record.
Oh, okay.
That's why they went there. And even when they were singing in front of James Cleveland would say, "Look, you need to have an album out. I'm going to present you an album." And he would do one or two songs on the album, and let you do the rest. And his songs would wind up being a hit.
Yeah,
right. Every time,
you know. But it sold that album.
Yeah.
You know. Now I was looking yesterday. I was getting ready for church, and I decided to play Harold Smith Majestics.
Oh, yeah.
Lord help me to hold out. And when I looked on the back of it, it said written by James Cleveland. James didn't write that.
Really?
No.
James, and they put that on there?
What's the boy's name that wrote that? Harrison Johnson.
Harrison Johnson.
Oh.
Harrison Johnson wrote that when he was on Savoy. All James did was change the tempo.
Oh, okay.
But James, I said, now wait a minute. I hope he ain't get paid for that. I hope Bubba was enough to say, you're not stealing my song.
But you got to go back. In those days, everybody was taking everybody's material. You know,
they weren't stealing.
You see somebody's name on something and you didn't know who wrote what until you found out later. You know, because there was another, what was that? I Don't Feel No Ways Tired.
Yeah. Was
credited to him, but it was done by Curtis Burrell.
That's right.
You know, and a lot of people didn't know that. And which leads me to this point.
Scott,
do your paperwork, writers. Do your paperwork. Get your own publishing. And one of the things that even came out of that Savoy era was they didn't tell you that you could have your own publishing company. That's if it wasn't for Mr. Antrim, Carol's dad, a lot of us wouldn't know that we could have our own publishing company because Savoy never offered that. Oh, I didn't mean to call the name of the company, but that's too late now. Ain't it?
Yeah,
they did not offer you. They did not offer you the information that letting you know that you could open up your own publishing company or do your own publishing. They wanted why? Because the publisher is the one that makes the money.
The
songwriter only got like maybe 3 to 5 cents per song,
right?
You know, per cut. But the publisher was the one that made the money. So you signed your tune over to Savgas, and all you get was the writer royalties. They got everything.
Well, Planamar.
Right. And it was another one. I can't think of the name of it.
I can't think of it either.
But it was 3 of them, you know, because they had a branch for BMI, they had a branch for ASCAP, and they had a branch for feedback.
Right. That's good advice.
But they weren't, you know, even now, you know, like Uncle Robert, Mr. Antrim, like he said, he taught a lot of people that, and it started a lot of tension.
Yes, it did.
With these
especially when it came to those GMWA recordings.
That's right.
Because that's what most of us, you know, you presented something and they wanted 50%, 75%, or 100%. You know, and when Mr. Antrim told us that we could share, it became very difficult.
Well, Uncle Robert told me I didn't have to share. He said, if you don't make nothing but a penny, that's a penny more than you had. You keep your own publishing company, you know, and you don't have to split with nobody. In fact, the last time that Carol was asked to record with the workshop, she's on here. Okay. But somebody came to her and said they wanted to do the song Sovereign. And once it came out, it said, but you have to split the royalties. Carol said, no. And her no means no. She ain't got to scream, holler, argue, or anything.
Right.
No. And she didn't do it. And I think they went on and taught the song anyway and sang the song. But Carol was like, it better not be on that record.
Right. Wow.
You know, so, you know, it's keeping everybody informed.
Yes.
About your stuff. I read the backs of albums and I see the publishing companies. I see the producers. I see executive producers.
Yes.
So not just the artists, you know, I like to see who's playing and, you know, all that. But find out the information on this stuff.
That's right.
A thing called that Slash. I mean, they really ain't making no money.
Right.
Yeah. Now, somebody want to know about the Roberta Martin singers.
Now, that's my favorite group.
Prolific. Open the doors for a lot of people. Yeah. Open the door for a lot of people. Spectacular keyboardist, spectacular writer. And when you look at who she had in her group, people like Archie Dennis and Romance Watson.
Marcellus.
Right, Marcellus.
Dolores Barrett.
Robert Anderson. Dolores Barrett Campbell. I mean, she had a group.
Yeah, Barrett sisters. She had a group. But and they had such a blend.
Yes.
They really sang together.
And Eugene Smith.
Yes.
Eugene
who did the
Smith.
narration for the group.
Yes.
And getting a chance to meet him when we did the Gaither video was amazing. And he introduced something that we did there. I don't think they put it on the DVD, but he introduced one of the songs that we did there, and people just started crying because it brought back memories.
Yeah.
It brought back memories. Yeah, she did have her own publishing company. She was one of the first to have her own publishing company.
Yeah.
What's the other lady's name?
Sally Martin.
Sally Martin. Sally
Aiken.
Martin was more of a businesswoman than she was an artist. She was a businesswoman. She took care of business. Yeah.
Wow. Scott is saying this is why digital albums need to have credits on them. People need to know who the writers really are, and that's so true.
Well, Scott,
not only the writers, they need to know who the musicians are.
Small. The writing is so small you can't read it.
Yeah, but even if it's there, at least you get a magnifying glass and look at it.
Yeah,
you know, they need to know who the musicians are. Who are these people? They need to know who wrote what. You know, I mean, streaming is wonderful. Don't get me wrong. You don't make any money off of it. There I go again. You know, you don't make any money off of streaming. You know, but you don't get the information that you need either.
Exactly.
You know,
he's right.
Scott, I got the bootleg. I had the unreleased bootleg video too, Scott, or all of it. You know, because what people don't understand about that video is it was done in 1994. What they call it now, the Gospel Pioneer Reunion.
Oh,
but that's not what it was called. It was called On My Way to Heaven. Okay. And it was done in 1994. Bill Gaither had it shrink wrapped. The VHS tapes were packed and ready to go. And because some of the artists that were on there didn't get permission from their company, and I'm not going to name the company this time, but you can just imagine it's one that we've already talked about.
All right.
They would not give permission for him to release it. So he took a loss. He had, I think it was, he said he had printed like 100,000, 200,000 copies. And he said he'd just rather take the loss. But thank God he went on and re-enhanced the video, re-enhanced the sound, made it digital, and put it on that DVD. And it went crazy. Yeah. But so many bootleg copies had been sold.
Yeah. You know, I have one.
Oh, yeah, I got one too.
I have one. And it's phenomenal because they showed the rehearsal first, and then they showed the actual service. Yeah, you know, and the rehearsal was phenomenal.
Well, what people don't know is when you watch Highway to Heaven, the first song that's on the video, we all look like vagabonds. We look like we had just come about the cotton field. We had all just got there, and we were in another room rehearsing. And we started with Highway to Heaven, and Mr. Gaither walked in, and I mean the energy in that room was amazing.
Okay, really,
it was. I mean, it was outstanding. And he came in, and we were singing, so he came in. He just said, "Stop, stop, 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 stop," and we're like, "Well, what's wrong?" He said, "We're going to just stop. We weren't supposed to start taping till tomorrow." He said, "But we're going over to the big room and we're going to start taping tonight."
It was wonderful.
Wow.
It was amazing. And if you can see the energy in the room when you watch Highway to Heaven. And that's how the room felt for 3 days.
3 days.
It was, I remember I drove Kitty Parham to the airport. She said, "I wish you were going with me." And I was like, whatever, you know. But when I saw what was going on, I said, "Lord, if I only could have been there."
Listen, I wish I could tell you, I wish I could explain to you what it felt like to be in that room. I mean, the energy was amazing. The no ego, all those big gospel artists and no ego. Right. Everybody was down to earth, whatever, you know. And you could see the love in the room, how everybody was just embracing each other.
They knew each other. You know what I mean? So it's like
they were so glad to see each other.
Yeah.
For some of us, that was the last time we saw them.
Right. The choirs were getting along with the small groups. The small groups were getting along with the quartet singers and all that. And the thing was, everybody already knew everybody else's music. You know what I mean? So to see them join in and sing like that,
you
know, and I think what year was that?
We were cut in 1994.
1994.
January 1994.
James was already gone. James Cleveland was already. James Cleveland.
Yes, James died in 91.
Okay.
He died the same year my mom died.
All right. And I think Kitty had mentioned, they said we better get, because she was talking to Jesse Dixon.
Remember him?
Got all this. Oh my God. Jesse was phenomenal.
He was. Yeah.
And a lot of people don't know that the Chicago Community Choir.
That's right.
And the Thompson Community Choir
were the same choir.
Really?
Yeah, they were the same choir. They made money on the singers.
The Jesse Dixon singers, because they all sang with one another.
Right.
Oh my goodness! I mean? So, didn't know that.
You know,
yeah.
It was, oh God.
Was Highway taped in Philly or Chicago?
No, was it in Anderson?
Anderson, Indiana.
Oh, okay.
And on the Bill Gaither Complex. So everybody had to come. They came from all over California, Philadelphia, Detroit.
That's right.
I mean, you got Chicago. You got one corner where they had nothing but first sopranos, and you had Doris Sykes. You had Cleo Kennedy. You had Rosemary Remsen Brown. Sarah Jordan Powell. I mean, the corner was Ora Watkins. The corner was full of first sopranos.
Oh, yeah.
And I Shall Wear a Crown. They hit that beat flat, and that room shook.
Okay.
Wow. That was amazing.
They really had them. Oh, my God. It was. I mean, that stuff you can't. The other company, I won't mention their name, they tried to capture the same thing.
Yes, it didn't work.
But it didn't come out the same way.
Did not work.
You know, so I ain't gonna say it didn't work. Y'all remember Jeffrey LaValley? Allison Jeffrey LaValley said that, but
I do not bite my tongue.
I know you don't. I know you don't. It wasn't done as well.
It wasn't the same.
It wasn't the same spirit.
The spirit of the whole thing wasn't even the same.
That's right.
You go back and you look at the Gospel Pioneer reunion. You see love in the room.
Right.
Okay. You can see, you know, that they supported each other. They pushed each other. I mean, you got Mr. Clean, you got Clay Evans, you had Maceo Woods, you had Bishop Andre Woods. I mean, and they were just sitting there just like the rest of us and doing, you know, Walter Hawkins. When he came in, he didn't come the first night. He came the second day. And watching him was amazing because he was in awe. I mean, you could see it on his face. He was in awe. And when they interviewed him, he said, "These are the people that I grew up listening to." He said, "I am in my element. I am in my world. This is what I needed."
Right.
You know, and there were so many others. Darryl Coley. Yeah. You know, you had Betty Griffin Keller, V. Michael McKay. You know, all these people in the same room loving on each other. It was amazing.
Yeah.
Billy Preston.
Oh, Billy Preston, yeah.
Billy Preston. And the funny thing about that for me is when you look at Highway to Heaven, at the very end of that song, before they go into the reprise, you'll see Donald look at me and he'll look at Billy. And it was 20 years later when I realized that was actually the Billy Preston on the organ. I knew it was Billy Preston.
Wow. Yeah.
But when I looked at that video 20 years later, I'm like, I was playing with Billy Preston. And I had to go to bed.
Was Pee Wee on that one too?
Pee Wee, yes. If you look at when you get to I Shall Wear a Crown, Pee Wee was sitting right behind me.
Okay, when did he start playing piano? Was Richard playing the piano at the time?
Richard played the piano. Patrick Henderson played piano.
Oh, Lord.
I played piano. The Barrett sisters keyboardist, I can't think of his name right now.
George
He played as well. So it was about 5 of us that played. Patrick Henderson also played piano.
Yeah.
So there were several of us that were all that. But with Pee Wee, what happened was we were doing I Shall Wear a Crown, and it dawned on me that the first time I heard the recording of it, Pee Wee actually played the original with James Cleveland and the Angela Choir on Peace Be Still. So as I'm playing the first chorus, I turn around and tell him, "You come on and you play this." And he walks up behind me and he leans in my ear, right, Rodina Preston too. And he turned around and said, "What key?" And I said, "Well, we're in B flat." He slid me over and he sat down at that piano and he played it just like he did on the album with Peace Be Still. It was amazing. And if you look, you'll see me sitting on the floor.
That's right.
In awe.
That's right.
Patrick Henderson was on the floor in awe. I mean, we're watching because these are people that I learned. Pee Wee Picard is who I learned to play piano from.
That's right.
Him, Edwin Hawkins, and Richard Smallwood. That's how I learned how to play the piano.
Wow.
Yeah, Mike, you're right. Donald Vail played also.
Wow. This is amazing. All of this wealth of information really should be in a book or by video or something. Y'all have so much knowledge. It is really amazing. And someone said they're so amazed at Jeffrey LaValley's memory.
Right.
To remember all of this stuff. It is really amazing.
You would have to understand that we didn't have cell phones where we could take videos.
Right.
Or take pictures.
Right.
So you had to commit all of that stuff to your head.
Yeah.
You know, you had to memorize that stuff. And it was, I mean, when it affects you like that affected me, I'll never forget those times. I'll never forget those 3 days in Anderson, Indiana. Never.
Right. That is so good. So as we close tonight, what would you like to say? Scott is saying, who was the lady who played for the original gospel harmonettes?
What was her name?
I don't remember her name, but I know she just died maybe 2023.
Oh, wow.
Okay. I can't think of her name right now.
It
wasn't Vera. It wasn't Vera, was it?
No, it wasn't Vera.
And it wasn't Odessa.
That's it.
Odessa.
Edwards.
Edwards, yeah.
If I'm not mistaken, it's Odessa Edwards.
Yeah.
That's it.
That's who that was, Scott.
And if I'm wrong, somebody will correct me, but I think that's it.
Right. Odessa Edwards. And you say she just passed not too long ago?
She just passed not long ago, maybe 2023, early 2023. She hasn't been that long.
Wow. He said she wore that piano out.
You know who else was an excellent pianist? From Philadelphia. And she played stride piano, ragtime piano. She played gospel, but that's how she played. Gladys Gordon.
Yes.
She used to play for the original Victory Choral Union, and she played for Marion Williams. She played for the Stars of Faith, you know, for a while. And I mean, just phenomenal.
Wow. That is amazing.
Phenomenal people.
Yeah.
Well, what are some closing remarks you all would like to say to everyone before
we got to close already? Oh, well.
Yeah.
You know, we were a little late getting on tonight.
Yeah, but you need to.
I'm going to bring you back. Trust me, you'll be coming back.
We can't forget the bridge that brought us over.
That's right.
That's right.
You know, what was the old saying, don't throw the baby out with the bathwater?
Right.
We can't forget where we've come from. That's our history, especially in Black History Month. We can't forget that we weren't the first to do it.
Right.
Yeah.
There were others that came before us that had, you know, they didn't have the technology that we had.
That's right.
All they had was their gifts and their talents, and they gave them freely and did what they needed to do. We can't forget.
We cannot, and that's so true. That's so true. And that's why I always have you all come back, because I don't want to ever, forget. I love the history of gospel music. I really do. Gladys Gordon. Someone is saying Gladys Gordon played at my home church many years ago, the Monumental Baptist Church. Okay. I heard great stories about her.
Okay, she was excellent. You know, in my final, I want to bring up something that you talked about in the beginning when you were saying, you know, what's the difference in today and back then? I think what has happened is we don't know, we're not presenting the gospel of the gospel music.
I agree.
You're not presenting, there is no gospel without the birth, the life, the death, the burial, and the resurrection, and the soon coming king. That's the gospel. That's the gospel. And we're not present. Everything is prosperity. A lot of stuff is inspirational, you know, but it's not. And Jesus has become a pronoun.
Yes.
You know, we're not saying his. Thomas Whitfield wrote it when he said, "In case you've forgotten my name, it's Jesus. You talk about me and all this kind of stuff, you know." And then on top of that, you got to spend time with God.
Yeah.
You have to spend time with him. I'm serious. And that so, and you can tell the difference in somebody that has a skill and a gift and someone that's anointed to do whatever. And the anointing is the authority of God to achieve God's purpose, God's way. God's way.
Sir. That's right.
That's what it's not the quickening and shaking and the tongue speaking. I do all of that. But that's not anointing. Anointing is achieving God's purpose, God's way. And if we are not giving this music out the way God wants it, you're doing the so-called right thing the wrong way.
Yeah. So
that's why we have hype praise now, rather than intense praise or fortified praise or anointed praise. You know, okay, I shall not.
Well, you know what, David, we have gotten so lazy because back then, like we said, they may have had one microphone to sing with, and they didn't have all the technology. I think with the technology has really made us very lazy. In searching for God in our music. A lot of their songs were from experiences that they had. Some of us now are writing songs just to try to get a hit. A lot of times you don't even hear the vocals. You don't even understand what the words are. You hear a lot of instrumentation. So, and it's easy to just go in the studio. Some of them are doing it right at home.
At home.
You know, because they have all the equipment, but nobody is really, like you said, seeking God for the songs. You know, these people, you know, I listened to J.C. White, like we were saying about the songs that he wrote. They were stories. They were messages. They were sermons. You don't hear that now. You don't hear it now. So we've gotten lazy.
It's just that, I mean, people don't take time to, I'm always amazed at Carol. And I say, where do you get this stuff from? You know what? And she had told my mother one time, my mother asked her, she said, Aunt Dot, I'm never without a melody. You know, and that's when you know you actually have the great gift. So when she writes something and people don't understand how it goes places, you know, that other songs don't. You know, and I'm not slighting other songs. I really am not.
No, I understand.
You know, but the thing is, there's a life behind that. Jeff knows it. There's a life behind what she plays, what she teaches, you know, what she sings, you know, stuff that she does. There's a life behind that. That's how we grew up. We grew up with examples of lives. And people don't have that now. I mean, even with some of us, the people that the young musicians now don't have it because we never taught it. We didn't give it to them. There's a whole lost generation because we didn't give that part to them. I'm trying to do it now, and everybody said, "Oh, it don't take all that." Trust me, it takes all that and more.
And more. And Well, it's just like discussing the history. They don't know about this history. It's boring to them. They don't know about it. Nobody's really teaching it. You don't get it in school. You don't really get it at church. So nobody's really teaching history, gospel music of these artists, these writers. They don't know half of these things that we're talking about tonight.
Even Oh Happy Day, everybody thought it was just something that Edwin Hawkins wrote. And then when I was trying to tell some people, it's a hymn.
It is in the hymn book.
It's in the book.
Mm-hmm.
And when I started playing it the way it goes, the way it was written, they said, where'd that come from? I said, it's been in the book for 100 years.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Or what was it? Timothy Wright did one, pass me not, oh gentle Savior. And I ain't talking against him.
That was Douglas Miller.
Oh, sorry.
But he did Solid Rock, My Hope Is Built. Timothy Wright did.
Yep.
No,
he did
the one I was thinking that Timmy did was Come Thou Almighty King. I said,
yes.
To him.
Yes, it is. Mm-hmm.
So when it comes time for, like, I'm sure Jeff can attest to this. We would walk into church, and if nobody was there to play for devotion, we just went up and played. We didn't have a check. And all that. We just went on and did it. And people were saying to me, I can appreciate you because you will get up and play for devotion. If there's a dead part, I'll wait a few seconds or a few bars to see if somebody else was going up. But, I mean, there were times I went up and people had pushed me off the organ because it got hot.
Same here.
Yeah.
But you didn't want to do it when you were sitting there when nothing was going on. But, I mean, this is stuff we need to teach.
You have to teach it.
The younger people. Teach them humility. Musicians hate me because I'm not impressed with none of them. Oh, I play, I do this and I do that. I said, baby, let me show you somebody. And I'll call out the Jeffrey LaValleys. I'll call out the call preachers and the Ronnie Kersey and, all of that. These are musicians that you need to listen to.
Yeah. But, I think with what's going on in the world today, I do believe it's going to come a time where we're going to need that song that's going to help us to get through. Because we haven't seen anything yet. God is going to take care of the righteous. Like the scripture said, I've never seen the righteous forsaken or the seed begging bread. But I do feel it's going to come a time where what's going to happen, coming from the White House, it's going to affect all of us, the church, and indeed, and people are going to be running to the church because they're going to need to hear a song. Sometimes they'll hear that before they hear the sermon.
Yes, during the pandemic, Carol wrote a song called Endure. It's just, it's a simple message. Don't try to get anything before you should. Let patience have its work. Learn to endure. This will cause you to grow and grow. Your faith will mature. So endure, whatever it is.
Yes.
Endure. That's all it is to the song. And that song gets bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger because people begin to take each line.
I need to get in touch with Carol because I really want to interview her.
Well, she's online. She's listening. She's listening now.
Carol, I need you to inbox me, DM me, inbox me. I really want to bring you on as soon as I can get you for an interview because I just believe in. I had even gotten in touch with Betty Griffin Keller.
Okay.
And she was so excited that I reached out to her. And she said, thank you for remembering those that have, helped pave the way. And she said, I'm just almost in tears. And I thank you so much for reaching out to me. So I'm bringing her on as well. Someone mentioned Henry Davis.
Yes, indeed. Henry is the reason that I play in the key of B today.
Okay.
He's the reason I can do that today. Henry, when we did the album of Myrna Summers, Come to Jesus Now. I can't play in B. Yes, you can. Yeah. Great musician.
But even that album was phenomenal. It was just what I needed. The attack of you and Henry was phenomenal. The mix was phenomenal. I didn't like that they chopped it up and all that, but Savoy had a way of doing. Oh, did I mention that? But they had a way of chopping up stuff and they didn't splice it right. But when I tell you they did Come to Jesus,
yeah,
and my song is. Did you write this? Higher Plane. Did you write that?
Yes.
That song is phenomenal.
Wow.
Thank you.
That song, and he beat that organ until I melted in my chair. He beat it down. I'm like, I gotta learn.
But we didn't have a bass player for that section.
I thank you.
It was just me, Henry, and the drummer.
That's right. I'm all right.
Wow.
That's what I wanted. First time I heard I Found Jesus and I'm Glad, and you said, I said, this man is not. I'll keep on holding on. I said, I don't believe this is going on because we missed out on that.
Yes.
There's a story behind that one too. We'll save that for the next one.
Okay.
Yeah, someone want to know when you all are going to come back. They want to come back real soon. I'm not going to just wait until it's Black History Month. I'll bring them back soon. Jeff, what do you like to close out with?
I want everybody to remember what gospel music is.
Right.
The message. And those of you that are writers, remember when you're writing these three things. It's the message,
right,
and the method, which equals the ministry.
Right.
The method, the message equals the ministry. Yeah, that's good. That's so true. And I want everyone to have Jeffrey's Cash App on the screen. Please sow into him, be a blessing to him. He didn't ask me, he never does. But I just believe in sowing into people, the lives of people that have poured into us. Because this with him and David Winslow, this is a class. This is a college class. You know, they should. It definitely needs to be taught. It's good evening, Jimmy. It's it is amazing, and I thank you all so much for taking the time. Every time I call you, you answer and said, "No problem. What do you want to talk about?" And I'm so appreciative to you. And we're going to get you back before next year. It'll be again because I just love the history and I love what you remember and what you bring to the table. I hope one day it could be a book or a video or something that y'all can just share. And
I wouldn't even know where to start. Honestly, I wouldn't even know where to start because if you start one place, then it's got to take you back 20 years, 30 years before that. I'm a fan of the golden age of gospel.
Yeah. So that's where you would start. You would start with the golden age of gospel.
I mean, but there's stuff before that, like St. Paul Baptist Church Choir out of Los Angeles.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I think their album was recorded in 1945, and it was the first gospel album on Capitol Records.
Mm-hmm.
And they were the ones responsible for the song "I'm So Glad Jesus Lifted Me."
Yeah,
and all that.
Mm-hmm.
So, But anyway, thank God. I thank God. Closing out, I thank God for Jeffrey's healing.
Yes,
for real. I thank God for his healing, and how the Lord is really bringing him back, to where he wants him to be, and all that. I don't take it for granted. I always thank God for the opportunity to talk to you, Jeff. I don't call you on the phone, because Jeff is very melancholy when he's on the phone. Hello. And I said, okay.
I'm not a phone talker.
How you doing? Hey.
I'm not a phone talker.
Huh?
I'm not a phone talker.
Well, I get that, so I said, I ain't calling him no more. So I look forward to this.
Yeah.
Because we really, he's a whole different personality on this than he is on the phone. Hello.
It's in his heart. When something is in your heart, it's going to come out. It's going to come out because this is something he loves. Just like you, David, you love it. And
when I get off here, I'm going in my collection. I'm going to start listening to stuff. In fact, I'm listening to Nat Townsley today in St. Mark's and just have fun with you, Jeff.
Well, If you feel like it, just send me the MP3 of Go Down Moses. That's all I want.
Now, wait a minute. We really got to close. Jeff was putting music on. Jeff and Tommy Adams will put music on Facebook every day, especially during Black History Month. But every day they were putting on music and all that kind of stuff. And I wrote Jeff one time, I said, Jeff, I got like 9 links of vinyl that I can send to you that I made up. You know, it's all the stuff that you like. And the thing is, if it's something you want and I have it, I can put it on the link and you already have it. Jeff said, I'll get it off of YouTube. I said, well, excuse me.
Well, then I could download it from YouTube, but they're getting kind of picky now. But I don't have Go Down Moses, and it's not on YouTube.
Well, I do have it recorded already, so I just have to find out what link it's on.
And you'll get it.
And look, I'll send them all to you. I have everything from Art Reynolds and
Art Reynolds. We got to talk about them next time too.
Next time.
Art Reynolds. Okay.
Art Reynolds, the real first contemporary group out there.
Yes.
Really?
Before Edwin Hawkins.
Glory, hallelujah.
That's right. Thelma Houston, the disco queen.
Yep. Thelma Houston came out of the Art Reynolds Singers. Yep.
Oh wow. Oh my goodness.
So and then we can talk about that the next time. All the singers that came out of gospel and went to R&B and secular music.
That should be our next conversation.
Yeah, that's a good one. Della Reese.
We definitely will have it.
Yeah. And Dinah Washington.
Oh yes.
Dinah
Washington.
Gloria Lynn. Nancy Wilson. Edna Wright.
Laura Lee.
Oh Jesus.
We got to remember all of this.
Yeah, we'll get it together for you. Just write it down for us and tell us what you want us to do.
Okay.
Y'all
gave it to me tonight.
Thank you, Cindy.
Thank you.
Thank you, Cindy, for opening up. And you really need to start presenting your stuff. Amen.
Yeah, I do.
Because you got some stuff now going on.
Yeah.
And you need to, I know you're working hard in the Church of the Living God. I get the word all the time.
Oh,
really? I get the word from one of my choir members, Anthony Herndon.
Oh,
he tells me, oh, yeah, Cindy's doing this and doing that. And I say, okay, but you need to present some of the stuff that you're doing.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
You're phenomenal also.
Yeah, thank you. I will. And thank you, Davey. You've been such an encouragement. You encourage everybody. You're not a selfish person. You've never been, just like you said, if you see the organ empty and you're at a church, you're going to get on there and play. And you've always been like that. So that's why God blesses you. You and your group are excellent. And Jeff, you've heard his group before, right?
Yes.
David Winslow Singers.
Yes.
They are excellent. Excellent. He's teaching them well. And it's very, very, they're refreshing to hear. It's nice to hear.
Well, we start back singing the first Sunday in March. We'll be at the People's Baptist Church at 5039. So put the announcement. I'll send it to you and put the announcement out.
Yes, I will be glad to, because I'll be back on next week. I have an amazing show next week. I'll be on next week. And really almost every week I'll be on.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So I have so many people.
You're welcome to my service too. I might even pull out a Jeffrey LaValley song. Did you write Joy of My Salvation?
It's my arrangement. Yeah.
Ooh, that's really.
He's the joy of my salvation.
Oh wow.
Yes, he is. Phenomenal. First time I heard that was live in Flint. We went to Flint, Philly, Mass. Went to Flint. We got off the bus and went straight to the church and fell asleep. And he sang Wings of a Dove.
Yeah.
And the Joy of My Salvation. I snapped out. Wow. And I came home the next week and taught it. And we still sing it.
Yeah.
So
I thank him. And I thank you all for being here on tonight so much. I really, really appreciate it. And I look forward to having you guys back again. And I want to thank all of you that are watching and those that will watch the replay days and weeks ahead. And I thank you so much. And really stay tuned and come back and join us again. join me again on next week. So I want to say good night and thank you to my very, very special guests. This was an amazing show as always, and I love them so much. So you all stay in touch, and everyone have a good night. And gentlemen, you all have an awesome night as well. And we'll see you again.
I love you. Love you, Jeff.
Thank you so very much for tuning in to Real Talk with Cindy Barber. We hope you have been informed and inspired by the conversation on this evening. You can contact Cindy Barber on Instagram at CindyRBarber04. You can email her at ms.cindybarber@gmail.com or the YouTube channel at Cindy R. Barber. You can also contact Cindy about having your event advertised on Real Talk with Cindy Barber. Cindy looks forward to you joining her next week for another informative conversation right here on Real Talk with Cindy Barber. Until then, have a great evening.